Ever heard of Roary the racing car? In case you haven't already, it was a children's series featuring a young racing car called Roary and the antics he and his friends would get up to at Silver Hat Racetrack. Like most British kids shows, it managed to get a decent amount of tie-in products, like toys, live shows and even a video game. But what if I were to tell you that there was another game for Roary that never saw a public release? Instead of it being a port of that reskinned crap for the DS, this game had an original story with voice acting, cutscenes and all. Strap yourself in folks, because I don't think anything will prepare you for what might just be the most bizarre experience I've ever had with a British kids show. I was at CEX one day to see if I could get a Lunar Gym DVD as a gift for an upcoming friend's birthday, but to no such luck. I decided to see if they had the new Halo or Call of Duty game only for something to catch my eye. It was a Wii game entitled Roary, the Wii game. The cover had a stock image of Roary and Big Chris with two black figures standing in the background, and the second I picked it up, a truckload of questions came out. Was this even legitimate? Or was this a fan game? Because there was no publishers or logos on it, and most importantly, who were those shadowy figures in the background? There was only one way to find out, and that was to buy the thing and play it, because what else would you do? Go to Doncaster? I asked the lad at the register where this game came from. They said the person who gave it to them apparently found it in an abandoned Woolworths bargain bin. I found it a bit shifty, but the game only cost me £1, so I'm not complaining. I went back to my hovel still wondering if this was a dream or not, and if the game I bought was even official. Right, no more questions, I told myself. Let's just play this bugger already and get this over with. So I inserted the game into the console, started up my Wii, turned on the telly, and prepared myself for Roary, the Wii game. The game booted up immediately to the title screen, and it looked normal enough. Roary, Tin Top, CC and of course Big Chris were there below the game's logo, along with 3 options: Start, Settings and Extra. Nothing to do with the gun, just extra. I'd thought I would save the latter for later as I knew it would be something special. I selected Start and it then played a cutscene. It began with the familiar overshot zoom-in view of Silver Hat Racetrack with the narrator voice saying,
"It was a special day at Silver Hat Racetrack, and Big Chris had a surprise to share with the cars."
It then went to a shot of inside the garage with all the cars parked in their normal spots, when Big Chris walked in with the aforementioned surprise.
"Right now you lot,"
he announced,
"I need you all to prepare the garage for the racetrack's 850th birthday party."
Wait a second, Silver Hatch's 850? Did I miss something here? Looking up I found out the actual oldest motor racing track in the world is the Brooklands Motor Racing Circuit in Weybridge, Surrey, England, and that's only 117 years old. That would mean that the racetrack itself was around way before the invention of the motor car, and presuming this game was completed in 2010, that would mean Silver Hat was canonically established in 1160. Anyway, all the other cars were all getting excited but Maxie appeared puzzled.
"Are you sure it's that old?"
he asked Big Chris, to which the legendary mechanic responded with,
"Of course I am. My father looked after it, and his father, and his father, and all of their fathers. Same goes for Mr. Carburettor." "I guess that kinda makes sense,"
Tin Top replied. Big Chris then told the cars to get some swagalicious food for the party from the farm.
"Brilliant,"
said Roary.
"Let's load them up."
And the cars all sped away. After that the cutscene ended and the game began. The controls were a bit like Mario Kart for the Wii and the Pixar Cars games. To control Roary you had to put the Wii remote sideways, press A to accelerate and use the nunchuck to steer. Relatively simple stuff. You also had to avoid obstacles like oil spills on the track, traffic cones, and copies of the game Go Go Hyper Grind, of which you could run over. Good call, whoever made this game. Upon arriving at the farm, I was met with another cutscene. However, this one was a little more odd. It featured 2 characters that I'd never thought I would see in a product relating to Roary of all things. Umi and Yumi from the crappy overrated Cartoon Network show Hi Hi Puffy Me Yumi. However, things weren't looking too peachy for our least favorite stupid rockster bitches, as they were being forced to work on the farm.
"Gosh darn it, I hate working here!"
Whined Umi.
"So do I,"
agreed Yumi.
"Where's that pay, you chubby cheapskate?"
To which Farmer Green said,
"You're not getting a penny. After all, this is your community service after you robbed that Tesco's."
Before the girls could reply with more bitching, Roary arrived with CC and Rifter in tow.
Good morning, Farmer Green.
Greeted Roary.
Silverhatch is having a birthday party, and we need your finest produce.
Yes,
Agreed CC.
We need enough food for everyone.
of course I am.
He responded.
I've got enough Fago and goat's cheese to go around. Don't worry if it's too much for you to carry.
Chimed an FB.
I can carry the rest of my cargo bed.
Roary then thanked Farmer Green and FB for their compliance and they all drove off back to the garage. Seeing them all so joyous and happy only made Yumi and Yumi seethe with fury.
That's the last straw. They get to have a party while we're stuck here being forced to work barely minimum wage?
Yumi snapped.
You know what this calls for?
Yelled Yumi.
It's time to fight back!
It then went to a scene of Roary and his chums driving back to Silverhatch, but then there was trouble. What looked to be a knockoff of Dick Dastardly's mean machine with a gun turret on the front began to chase the trio, and said vehicle was being driven by Yumi and Yumi. The first one to notice the car was Drifter.
Watch out, Roary!
He cried. Now shit was starting to get real. It then went to another stage, where you had to play as Roary again, as you had to dodge Yumi and Yumi's attacks and collect letters to spell a word in order to fend them off. The word in question was of course, bum. I managed to collect all the letters and then out of the blue, Bad Bob from Rex the Runt popped out of the bushes and shot at one of the lesser mean machine's tires, causing it to spin out of control and land in a ditch.
Ha ha!
Laughed Roary.
Better luck next time, Lamey and Doody. Thank you, Bad Bob.
Called out CC. After that whole fiasco, the cavalcade then finally arrived back at the garage where Big Chris and Marshall were waiting for them, decorating the garage. Except all the decorations were hyper-realistic for some reason.
Oh, am I glad you're all here.
Chris said to them.
We've just started decorating. So who'll be there for the party?
Asked CC.
You'll have to wait and see.
Answered Marsha.
Only thing that we can say is that they're very special guests indeed.
And very swagster too.
Added Big Chris. After a nothing too special decorating minigame, everything was ready. A megabus then pulled up at the garage and the aforementioned guests started to arrive. And you would have never guessed in a million years who turned up for Silverhatch's big 850th. The attendees were Dougal from the Magic Roundabout, Bert from Trapdoor, Fowler from Chicken Run, Rolf from Ed and Eddie, Hugh Neutron, Guy Fieri, Ratafak Plactor, Ed the Otter from Brandy and Mr. Whiskers, Dad Egbert, Mr. Krabs and Eustace Bag. It was so epic seeing all these super swagsters together to celebrate the occasion. It was like the 2009 Peter K. Children in Need melody all over again. Then Mr. Carburetor with his mother arrived on heli. The guests were greeted and the party soon began. Mr. Rails from Underground Ernie was the DJ. Big Chris was wearing that flashy Elvis-esque outfit he wore in a few episodes. And even Flash the Rabbit and Mollicole were there having a good time. The game then took another unexpected turn, as it then went to a dancing minigame. A la Just Dance, where you could not only choose the character you could play as, I chose you, but also choose the song you wanted to dance to, and there was a particularly good selection. I chose El Ataque de las Chicas Cocodrilo by Hombres G. However, as you might have expected, after this, things would start to get ugly, figuratively, and literally. Everyone was enjoying themselves until all of a sudden, the power abruptly went out, much to their confusion. Big Chris was about to get a torch from Rusty, his camper van. However, the cars just said that they could use their headlights instead, and so they did.
Ha ha! We've got you now!
Called out a familiar voice from above. Then it hit me. The voice belonged to Yumi, and since both her and Yumi's outlines matched the silhouettes of the dark figures of the characters on the box, they were the dark figures all this time. Yumi yelled from the roof of the garage with a megaphone in her hands. Big Chris had got his torch from Rusty and shined it at the two girls.
Hold on. I thought you two were doing community service at the farm.
Shut up!
Snapped Yumi.
Now you can't speak it into one to bed or tremble!
Blah blah blah.
Mocked Eustace.
What's your offer?
Yumi and Yumi's demands were as follows. 1 million British pounds, a full DVD box set of Winx Club, and their show back on Cartoon Network. Everyone went silent at first, before they all burst into a fit of laughter due to how empty and pathetic their threats were.
Like we'd want that rubbish back on our screens.
Dougal retorted.
I don't know if you should go back to the farm or the drawing board,
Chuckled Hugh.
I've heard more intimidating threats off Rock.
Added Burke. Their laughter only infuriated me and Yumi more.
Fine,
Sighed Yumi,
what's that? It's a different way.
who then turned her attention to Roary. She then challenged Roary to a race around the track, and if he lost, Silver Hatch would be bulldozed and replaced with a rock stage where only she and me could perform. But Roary was confused.
Didn't your crappy car crash?
He asked.
Well, Jenny Wakeman recovered it for us because frick you!
Me snapped back. Big Chris kneeled down and spoke to Roary.
Right now, Roary, Silverhatch's future lies within your little wings. You win this race, and I'll give you this Morrison's voucher. Wicked! I won't let you down, Big Chris!
And with that, at long last, it took me to the final boss, me and Yumi. Marsha started the countdown for the race to begin, and as soon as she waved the green flag, the cars were off. And boy, you just had to be there to experience it. You had to play as Roary, obviously, but this level felt like a total mindfuck. As if the fact you were racing against me and Yumi was strange enough. You had fighter jets flying overhead dropping missiles on the track, glimpse overhead advertising American Pickers branded deodorant, Speed Racer and Austin Powers coming out of literal nowhere in their respective vehicles to assist Roary, with Speed sending Sprittle and Chim Chim to attack me and Yumi, Gary the Gadget Guy firing jars of gone-off horseradish at the enemy's vehicle, pint glasses the size of water towers filled with fruit chute spilling on the track, Captain Underpants fighting Powdered Toastman in the background. For some reason, mate, this was proper mental. Eventually during the last lap, Roary, likely fed up and wanting this chaotic BS to be over with, slammed himself into me and Yumi's dickhead mobile, causing it to spiral out of control yet again, but this time, they crashed into a shed filled with dynamite.
Get shreked, bimbos!
Roary called out, as he crossed the finish line victoriously and triumphantly to hear everyone clapping and cheering for him.
Roary, you did it, lad!
Big Chris cried.
You rid us of those pesky slappers! You're my #1 star!
Roary, though tired out from the race, could not have felt prouder.
This calls for a celebration,
Said Mr. Rails as he pulled out another accord and began to play the Kabouter dance from Kabouter Plop as everyone did their best silly dance moves until it eventually cut to black. The screen was black for a few seconds until it cut to the scene from Big Cook Little Cook where Small closes his book saying,
That was a great adventure!
Before sending me back to the title screen. Also remember the extra option I was talking about? Well, basically it was an episode of Ruby Gloom, but every time a character spoke, it changed the dub, because that's not unusual, is it? And when I said I knew it would be something special, I was right, because once the Ruby Gloom episode ended, an episode of the show Something Special literally played afterwards. Yeah. Not long after I went to bed and the next morning, the postman delivered me a parcel. I placed it on the table and opened it up, and inside was a note saying,
I saw you completed the game. You're my #1 star.
I had no idea who this was from, but who cares about that. Also inside the package was a photo of Roary and Big Chris signed by Peter Kay himself, a poster of the game's climax involving Roary, assisted by Speed and Powers up against me and Yumi in their sorry excuse for a vehicle, and the exact Luna Gym DVD I was looking for. Well, I said to myself, I am certainly not gonna forget this anytime soon, and I certainly haven't, because I wouldn't be telling this story if I did now, would I?